Belize was the site of several Mayan city-states until their decline at the end of the first millennium AD. The British and Spanish disputed the region in the 17th and 18th centuries. It formally became the colony of British Honduras in 1862. Territorial disputes between the UK and Guatemala delayed the independence of Belize until 1981. Guatemala refused to recognize the new nation until 1992, and the two countries are involved in an ongoing border dispute. Tourism has become the mainstay of the economy. Current concerns include the country's heavy foreign debt burden, high unemployment, growing involvement in the Mexican and South American drug trade, high crime rates, and one of the highest HIV/AIDS prevalence rates in Central America.
Belize summary.
Adobe PDF.
Geography.
Belize.
Location: Central America, bordering the Caribbean Sea, between Guatemala and Mexico.
Geographic coordinates: 1715 N, 8845 W.
Map references: Central America and the Caribbean.
Area: total
22,966 square kilometers.
Land:
22,806 square kilometers.
Water:
160 square kilometers.
Country comparison to the world:
152.
Area: comparative, slightly smaller than Massachusetts.
Land boundaries: total
542 kilometers.
Border countries: 2.
Guatemala 266 kilometers, Mexico 276 kilometers.
Coastline: 386 kilometers.
Maritime claims: territorial sea:
12 in the north, 3 in the south. Note: from the mouth of the Saskatoon River to Rangwanike, Belize's territorial sea is 3 according to Belize's Maritime Areas Act, 1992. The purpose of this limitation is to provide a framework for negotiating a definitive agreement on territorial differences with Guatemala.
Exclusive Economic Zone:
200.
Climate: tropical, very hot and humid. Rainy season: May to November. Dry season: February to May.
Terrain: flat, swampy coastal plain, low mountains in south.
Elevation: mean elevation
173 m.
Elevation extremes:
0 m lowest point.
Caribbean Sea:
1,124 highest point.
The oil's delight:
Natural resources: arable land potential, timber, fish, hydropower.
Land use: agricultural land
6.9%.
Arable land
3.3%. Permanent crops
1.4%. Permanent pasture
2.2%.
Forest
60.6%.
Other
32.5%.
Irrigated land 35 square kilometers.
Population distribution: approximately 25% to 30% of the population lives in the former capital, Belize City. Over half of the overall population is rural. Population density is slightly higher in the north and east.
Natural hazards: frequent, devastating hurricanes, June to November, and coastal flooding, especially in south.
Environment: current issues: deforestation, water pollution, including pollution of Belize's barrier reef system, from sewage, industrial effluents, agricultural runoff, inability to properly dispose of solid waste.
Environment: international agreements. Party 2.
Biodiversity, climate change Kyoto Protocol, desertification, endangered species, hazardous wastes, law of the sea, ozone layer protection, ship pollution, wetlands, whaling.
Signed, but not ratified.
None of the selected agreements.
Geography: note, only country in Central America without a coastline on the North Pacific Ocean.
People and society.
Belize.
Population: 385,854.
Country comparison to the world:
177.
Nationality: noun.
Belizean, S.
Adjective:
Belizean.
Ethnic groups: Mestizo 52.9%, Creole 25.9%, Maya 11.3%, Garifuna 6.1%, East Indian 3.9%, Mennonite 3.6%, White 1.2%, Asian 1%, Other 1.2%, Unknown 0.3%.
Note:
percentages add up to more than 100% because respondents were able to identify more than one ethnic origin.
Languages: English 62.9%, official. Spanish 56.6%, Creole 44.6%, Maya 10.5%, German 3.2%, Garifuna 2.9%, Other 1.8%, Unknown 0.3%, Non 0.2%, Cannot speak,
Note:
shares some to more than 100% because some respondents gave more than one answer on the census.
Religions: Roman Catholic 40.1%, Protestant 31.5%, includes Pentecostal 8.4%, Seventh-day Adventist 5.4%, Anglican 4.7%, Mennonite 3.7%, Baptist 3.6%, Methodist 2.9%, Nazarene 2.8%, Jehovah's Witness 1.7%, other 10.5%, includes Baha'i, Buddhist, Hindu, Mormon, Muslim, Rastafarian, Salvation Army, unspecified 0.6%, non 15.5%.
Demographic profile: migration continues to transform Belize's population. About 16% of Belizeans live abroad, while immigrants constitute approximately 15% of Belize's population. Belizeans seeking job and educational opportunities have preferred to emigrate to the United States rather than former colonizer Great Britain because of the United States' closer proximity and stronger trade ties with Belize. Belizeans also emigrate to Canada, Mexico, and English-speaking Caribbean countries. The emigration of a large share of Creoles, Afro-Belizeans, and the influx of Central American immigrants, mainly Guatemalans, Salvadorans, and Hondurans, has changed Belize's ethnic composition. Mestizos have become the largest ethnic group, and Belize now has more native Spanish speakers than English or Creole speakers, despite English being the official language. In addition, Central American immigrants are establishing new communities in rural areas, which contrasts with the urbanization trend seen in neighboring countries. Recently, Chinese, European, and North American immigrants have become more frequent.
Immigration accounts for an increasing share of Belize's population growth rate, which is steadily falling due to fertility decline. Belize's declining birth rate and its increased life expectancy are creating an aging population. As the elderly population grows and nuclear families replace extended households, Belize's government will be challenged to balance a rising demand for pensions, social services, and health care for its senior citizens with the need to reduce poverty and social inequality and to improve sanitation.
Age structure: 0 to 14 years.
33.61%, male 66,207/female 63,466.
15 to 24 years.
18.74%. Male 37,184/female 35,127.
25 to 54 years.
37.43%. Male 70,222/female 74,187.
55 to 64 years.
5.88%. Male 11,397/female 11,284.
65 years and over.
4.35%. Male 8,293/female 8,487.
Population pyramid.
Population pyramid.
Dependency ratios.
Dependency ratios are a measure of the age structure of a population. They relate the number of individuals that are likely to be economically dependent on the support of others. Dependency ratios contrast the ratio of youths, ages 0-14, and the elderly, ages 65 plus, to the number of those in the working age group, ages 15-64. Changes in the dependency ratio provide an indication of potential social support requirements resulting from changes in population age structures. As a fertility lever. More dependency ratios field listing.
Total dependency ratio:
56.8.
Youth dependency ratio:
50.9.
Elderly dependency ratio:
5.9.
Potential support ratio:
17.
Median age total:
23.7 years.
Male:
23.2 years.
Female:
24.4 years.
Country comparison to the world:
168.
Population growth rate:
The average annual percent change in the population, resulting from a surplus, or deficit, of births over deaths and the balance of migrants entering and leaving a country. The rate may be positive or negative. The growth rate is a factor in determining how great a burden would be imposed on a country by the changing needs of its people for infrastructure, for example, schools, hospitals, housing, roads, resources, for example, food, water, electricity, and jobs. Rapid population growth can be seen as More population growth rate field listing.
1.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
57.
Birth rate. 22.9 births out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
63.
Death rate. 4.2 deaths out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
206.
Net migration rate. 0 migrants out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
73.
Population distribution. Approximately 25% to 30% of the population lives in the former capital, Belize City. Over half of the overall population is rural. Population density is slightly higher in the north and east.
Urbanization. Urban population.
45.7% of total population.
Rate of urbanization.
2.32% annual rate of change.
Major urban areas. Population. 23,000 Belmopan. Capital.
Sex ratio at birth.
1.05 male apostrophe s/female.
0 to 14 years.
1.04 male apostrophe s/female.
15 to 24 years.
1.04 male apostrophe s/female.
25 to 54 years.
1.03 male apostrophe s/female.
55 to 64 years.
0.97 male apostrophe s/female.
65 years and over.
0.89 male apostrophe s/female.
Total population.
1.03 male apostrophe s/female.
Maternal mortality rate.
The maternal mortality rate, MMR, is the annual number of female deaths per 100,000 live births from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, excluding accidental or incidental causes. The MMR includes deaths during pregnancy, childbirth, on within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration and site of the pregnancy, for a specified year. Maternal mortality rate field listing.
28 deaths/100,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
116.
Infant mortality rate. Total.
12 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Male.
13.3 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Female.
10.7 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
114.
Life expectancy at birth. Total population.
74.7 years.
Male.
73.1 years.
Female.
76.3 years.
Country comparison to the world.
122.
Total fertility rate. 2.8 children born. Woman.
Country comparison to the world.
60.
Contraceptive prevalence rate.
This field gives the percent of women of reproductive age, 1549, who are married or in union and are using, or whose sexual partner is using, a method of contraception according to the date of the most recent available data. The contraceptive prevalence rate is an indicator of health services, development, and women's empowerment. It is also useful in understanding past, present, and future fertility trends, especially in developing countries. Contraceptive prevalence rate field listing.
51.4%, 2015 to 16.
Health expenditures, 5.8% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
109.
Physicians density, 0.77 physicians out of 1,000 population.
Hospital bed density, 1.3 beds out of 1,000 population.
Drinking water source, improved.
Urban,
98.9% of population.
rural,
100% of population.
total,
99.5% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
1.1% of population.
rural,
0% of population.
total.
0.5% of population.
Sanitation facility access, improved.
Urban,
93.5% of population.
rural,
88.2% of population.
total,
90.5% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
6.5% of population.
rural,
11.8% of population.
total.
9.5% of population.
HIV/AIDS adult prevalence rate, 1.9%.
Country comparison to the world.
26.
HIV/AIDS, people living with HIV/AIDS, 4,500.
Country comparison to the world.
118.
HIV/AIDS deaths, less than 200. Major infectious diseases, degree of risk, high.
Food or waterborne diseases.
Bacterial diarrhea, hepatitis A, and typhoid fever.
Vector-borne diseases.
Dengue fever and malaria.
Note:
Active local transmission of Zika virus by Aedes species mosquitoes has been identified in this country. As of August 2016, it poses an important risk, a large number of cases possible, among U.S. citizens if bitten by an infective mosquito. Other less common ways to get Zika through sex, via blood transfusion, or during pregnancy, in which the pregnant woman passes Zika virus to her fetus.
Obesity. Adult prevalence rate 24.1%.
Country comparison to the world.
60.
Children under the age of 5 years underweight, 4.6%.
Country comparison to the world.
84.
Education expenditures 7.4% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
14.
School life expectancy, primary to tertiary education.
School life expectancy, SLE, is the total number of years of schooling, primary to tertiary, that a child can expect to receive, assuming that the probability of his or her being enrolled in school at any particular future age is equal to the current enrollment ratio at that age. Caution must be maintained when utilizing this indicator in international comparisons. For example, a year or grade completed in one country is not necessarily the same in terms of educational content or quality. More school life expectancy, primary to tertiary education. Field listing.
Total.
13 years.
Male.
13 years.
Female.
13 years.
Unemployment. Youth ages 15 to 24. Total.
17.7%.
Male.
11%.
Female.
28.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
73.
Government.
Belize.
Country name. Conventional long form.
None.
Conventional short form.
Belize.
Former.
British Honduras.
Etymology.
May be named for the Belize River, whose name possibly derives from the Maya word Belix, meaning muddy-watered.
Government type. Parliamentary democracy. National Assembly. Under a constitutional monarchy. A Commonwealth realm.
Capital. Name.
Belmopan.
Geographic coordinates.
1715 N. 8846 Watt.
Time difference.
UK 6. 1 hour behind Washington, D.C., during standard time.
Administrative divisions. 6 districts. Belize, KO, Corozal, Orange Walk, Stan Creek, Toledo.
Independence.
For most countries, this entry gives the date that sovereignty was achieved and from which nation, empire, or trusteeship. For the other countries, the date given may not represent independence in the strict sense, but rather some significant nationhood event such as the traditional founding date or the date of unification, federation, confederation, establishment, fundamental change in the form of government, or state succession. For a number of countries, the establishment of statehood. More independence field listing.
The 21st of September 1981, from the UK.
National holiday, Battle of St. George's Gay Day, National Day, 10 September. 1798, Independence Day, 21 September, 1981.
Constitution history.
Previous 1954, 1963, pre-independence. Latest signed and entered into force the 21st of September 1981.
Amendments.
Proposed and adopted by 2/3 majority vote by the National Assembly House of Representatives except for amendments relating to rights and freedoms, changes to the Assembly, and to elections and judiciary matters, which require at least 3/4 majority vote by the House. Both types of amendments require assent by the Governor-General, amended several times, last in 2018.
Legal system. English common law.
International Law Organization participation has not submitted an ICJ jurisdiction declaration, except SIC jurisdiction.
Citizenship. Citizenship by birth.
Yes.
Citizenship by descent only.
Yes.
Dual citizenship recognized.
Yes.
Residency requirement for naturalization.
5 years.
Suffrage. 18 years of age. Universal.
Executive branch. Chief of State.
Queen Elizabeth II. Since the 6th of February 1952. Represented by Governor-General Sir Colville Norbert Young, Sr. Since the 17th of November 1993.
Head of Government.
Prime Minister Dean Oliver Barrow, since the 8th of February 2008. Deputy Prime Minister Patrick Faber, since the 7th of June 2016.
Cabinet.
Cabinet appointed by the Governor-General on the advice of the Prime Minister from among members of the National Assembly.
Elections. Appointments.
The monarchy is hereditary. Governor-General appointed by the monarch, following legislative elections, The leader of the majority party or majority coalition usually appointed Prime Minister by the Governor-General. Prime Minister recommends the Deputy Prime Minister.
Legislative branch. Description.
Bicameral National Assembly consists of
Senate, 13 seats, including the President, members appointed by the Governor-General, 6 on the advice of the Prime Minister, 3 on the advice of the Leader of the Opposition, and 1 each on the advice of the Belize Council of Churches and Evangelical Association of Churches, the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Belize Better Business Bureau, and the National Trade Union Congress. Senate President elected from among the Senate members or from outside the Senate, term of appointment now.
House of Representatives, 31 seats. Members directly elected in single-seat constituencies by simple majority vote serve 5-year terms.
Elections. Senate, last appointed the 13th of November 2015. Next appointments now.
House of Representatives, last held on the 4th of November 2015. Next to be held in November 2020.
Election results. Senate, composition, men 11, women 2%, of women 15.4%.
House of Representatives, percent of vote by party, up 50%, PUP 47.3%, other 2.7%. Seats by party, up 19, PUP 12. Composition, men 28, women 3% of women 9.7%. Note, total National Assembly percent of women 11.4%. Judicial branch, highest courts.
Supreme Court of Judicature, consists of the Court of Appeal with the Court President and 3 justices, and the Supreme Court with the Chief Justice and 2 judges. Note, in 2010, Belize acceded to the Caribbean Court of Justice as the final Court of Appeal, replacing that of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London.
Judge selection in term of office.
Court of Appeal President and Justices appointed by the Governor-General upon advice of the Prime Minister after consultation with the National Assembly Opposition Leader. Justices' tenures vary by terms of appointment. Supreme Court Chief Justice appointed by the Governor-General upon the advice of the Prime Minister and the National Assembly Opposition Leader. Other judges appointed by the Governor-General upon the advice of the Judicial and Legal Services section of the Public Services Commission and with the concurrence of the Prime Minister after consultation with the National Assembly Opposition Leader. Judges can be appointed beyond age 65 but must retire by age 75. In 2013, the Supreme Court Chief Justice overturned a constitutional amendment that had restricted Court of Appeal judge appointments to as short as 1 year.
Subordinate courts.
Magistrate courts, family court.
Political parties and leaders. Belize Progressive Party or BPP, Patrick Rogers, formed in 2015 from a merger of the People's National Party, elements of the vision inspired by the people, and other smaller political groups.
People's United Party or PUP, Johnny Bryce N.O.
United Democratic Party or UDP, Dean Oliver Barrow.
Vision inspired by the people or VIP, Hubert Enriquez.
International Organization Participation AP, AOSIS, C, CARICOM, CD, CELAC, FAO, G77, YIDP, IA, IBD, ICAO, IC, NGOs, ICM, IDA, IFAD, IFX, ELO, IMF, IMO, Interpol, IOC, IOM, ITU, LEAS, MEGA, NAM, OAS, OpenAll, OPC, PCA, Petro-Caribe, SICA, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UPU, UCO, WHO, WIPO, WMO, RITO.
Diplomatic representation in the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador Francisco Daniel Gutierrez, since the 21st of July 2017.
Chancery.
2535 Massachusetts Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20008.
Telephone.
1-202-332-9636.